and also give you the information I want to give you. So, all right, this is my 3-part workshop series on burnout and stress and designing the life you want. So I'm doing 3 days, devoting 3 days to this workshop. Workshop 1 is today. It's just going to be about stress and dealing with stressors and burnout. And then tomorrow, we're going to talk about red flags at work. How do you know when it's time to make a change? Whether it's to leave your job, find a new job, or change your career, right? Make a career switch. And then day 3 is going to be all about creating the life you want from a design perspective. And I'm going to use some books I've been reading about using design methods and also just social science methods. I'm an anthropologist by training, and a lot of the methods that's used there is what I've taught in anthropology and I've learned in anthropology. So 3-day series. I'm super excited. Using multiple platforms. I am learning how to do all of this. Woohoo! All right, this is super exciting. Okay, so let me just begin by talking about stress and stressors. Stress and stressors are different, okay? And just because you've dealt with one doesn't mean you've dealt with the other. It's important to deal with the actual stress itself. All right, so stressors are what activate the stress response in your body, right? Work, money, kids, cultural norms. You face discrimination, racism. All of these can be interpreted by your body as threats. Stress is a neurological and physiological shift that happens in your body when you face one of those threats, right? It's you're evolutionarily designed to respond in this way to help you survive should you be faced with a predator. When you see a predator, right, this activates a stress response. And all these things take place in your body. Epinephrine pushes blood into your muscles. There's certain hormones that keep you going. Endorphins help you ignore how uncomfortable all of this is. Your heart rate gets faster. Your hands get clammy. Your blood pumps. You breathe faster, your digestion slows down. All of this is your body getting flooded, with stress response so that you're going to be pushed to run and escape. Hi, I'm going to go ahead and also wave at people. Hello, nice to see you all. Okay. Okay, so the goal is, the stress response is to move oxygen and fuel into your muscles so that you can escape. Now, when the stress experience happens, right, there's 2 outcomes. Like, for example, if you're faced by a lion, a predator, you either get eaten or you escape and you survive. You go back. If you survive, you go home, you see your family, your friends, you celebrate, you share a feast with people you love, you give gratitude for being alive. And all of that feeds into completing the stress cycle response, okay? But just because you've dealt with the stressor, that means like the lion or the predator is not there, doesn't mean you've dealt with the stress itself, right? Here's the example. You might run away from the lion and it somehow maybe dies, right? Are you suddenly peaceful and relaxed? No, you're still in stress mode, heart pumping. Another threat comes, right? Your hands are still clammy. You're still in that tense mode, ready to escape, right? Now, if the lion charges at you, your adrenaline's pumping, your cortisol, your glycogen, all in full force, and you may grab a spear and kill the lion dies. So the threat is gone, but your body is still in full action mode, right? It's ready to pounce, it's ready to run. It does not feel safe. So you have to signal to your body that it's safe, or else you will stay in the state with the neurochemicals and hormones. They're winding down, but they never really go into a state of relaxation. And that affects all your organs, your systems, your bodily systems, your digestive system, your immune system, cardiovascular. All of them need to get the signal that they are safe. I'm good, thank you. 1128969. Okay. Now, let's suppose that the stressor is your work, right? Because I'm a career and burnout coach, and I'm here to talk about that. What if the stressor is work? Maybe there's someone at work, that is a stressor for you. Maybe it's your boss, a colleague, someone that your body is seeing as a threat to your life. Maybe you're constantly berated at work, told you're not good enough, you know, um, expectations aren't clear. Maybe your boss is a micromanager, right? You're going to get the same feelings of adrenaline and cortisol and glycogen when you're triggered by, remarks or actions that take place, right? But instead of completing the stress cycle, you have to sit there and you have to act appropriate. You have to hold it all in. You have to be nice. You have to be the good girl. And what that does is it just causes stress to stay in your body, right? Also, not feeling your feelings also cause stress in your body. Obviously, acting on that response, like say you want to yell at someone or act out, that can also cause stress. It's not really the solution either, right? And you may not feel safe doing that. You may not feel safe acting on it and then receiving a response that is undesirable, right? So these are all the survival strategies that you have used to stay quiet, to be calm, to be the good girl, to be appropriate. These are survival strategies, right? And when it comes down to it, we're evolutionally designed to respond in these ways. It's fight or flight, which you've heard. Freeze is when you're mobilized, right? That can be like burnout when you're just shut down, or appease or fawn. Fawn is trying to fit in, trying to appease people. All of these responses, the four responses, what they do is they just suppress your stress response. Okay, they don't actually help you, start getting rid of it. They just suppress it. And so day after day, what does this do to your system? All the organs in your system are activated. This can turn to chronic stress in the long run, right? And this is the thing, the stress over time will kill you faster than the stressor will, right? And I take a lot of this information from the Burnout book by Emily Nagoski, so please check that out. And so here's the thing, right? If you don't deal with the stress, even if you get rid of the stressor, like you change jobs, you quit even, and you don't deal with the stress that's in your body, that can be very damaging to you in the long run. Okay. And so, how do you know when it's time to deal with the stress? Okay. And this is kind of where we start kind of talking about kind of burnout symptoms, right? You might notice yourself doing the same things over and over again and engaging in self destructive behavior. Maybe you're doom scrolling on your phone constantly. Maybe you're thinking obsessive thoughts. Maybe you're just feeling stuck, right? It's a sign that the stress has overwhelmed your brain to be able to deal and process, with what's happening around you, right? Another indication that maybe it's time to deal with the stress is it's called chandeliering, and it's Brene Brown's term. And it's really just, it means sudden outburst, right? Maybe something minor happens and then you just have a huge outburst. It's because you've been suppressing things for so long and that you erupt, so very explosive. You've just gone, way past your threshold, and you need to deal with the stress before you can deal with the stressor, right? That's what it shows. Another indication is you go into hiding mode. You just buffer all the time. You go home, you binge on Netflix constantly, and there's nothing wrong with buffering. It's just like if you consistently do it to avoid things in your life or to avoid feeling bad consistently, right? And so that could be like go home, eat ice cream, binge on Netflix constantly, and you just avoid your life. You just try to hide. You try to hide yourself, right? A final indication, and this is not an exhaustive or comprehensive list, but it's just some starting points to think about, to give clues to you when you might want to start dealing with the stress before it turns into burnout, when you just shut down, right? A final indication is your body just feels out of whack, and you can feel like maybe your digestion is just off base. You have constant chronic pain that's out of the ordinary. You have injuries that won't heal. Maybe you're sick a lot. I had this experience in graduate school, when I was getting my PhD, when I just like had a very stressful time, a good 6 months. And I think for 3 months of that, I was so sick. I had like some flu, but it was something just even more than that, and I could tell it was from the stress. And I hadn't been dealing with the stress, but I could feel it in my bodily symptoms, and also the sickness just prolonged because of that. So your mind and body are very connected, right? And if your body feels out of whack, it's an indication that it's time to deal with the stress. Okay. All right. So here's the thing. There are ways to complete the stress cycle. And so you want to complete the stress cycle before it becomes chronic stress and before you burn out, right? Short-term stress is actually good for your body, like it activates the immune system response. It's long-term stress that can be very detrimental, right? In our modern lives, the goal is not to eradicate stress. That's probably impossible, but it's to be able to move fluidly between these different states, from stress to calm to risk and adventure to calm, right? Wellness happens when your body feels safe for you. It feels like home, even when there's a storm outside of you and there's chaos, right? I mean, right now, reading the news on Ukraine, all these things that are happening, right? How do you come back and feel safe in your body, you know? And you can be wellness, you can be well in your body, even when it doesn't necessarily feel good, okay? So what are some ways to complete the stress cycle? This is the hardest part, okay? Because it's going to require that you turn the focus away from the stressor and you turn inward to your own emotions and body. And that can feel scary. It can feel scary. Now, if you've been through trauma, make sure that, you work with a therapist or professional before you take these steps. For everyone else, though, recognize that it's not going to be comfortable to turn inward. If you're so used to disconnecting from your body and how you're feeling, especially when you have had a lot of accumulated stress over the years, it's going to feel uncomfortable at first to turn inward and take some time. Okay, but these are some easy things that you can do to help complete the stress cycle. So one of the things is, so you do something like this for 20 to 60 minutes a day, and you can do multiple of these tasks, okay? And you want to speak the language of your body. Remember, it doesn't know what it means. Your body is not really aware that you have to file your taxes, right? Or you have some conflict at work. Your body just knows what it feels. It just feels that accumulated stress. And so, you can try to connect with your body and think about ways to make it feel safe again, right? So, one of the things that you can do, okay, is physical activity. It is, and I think this is just commonly known, it's not really exercise, because I want to shy away from that in terms of just working out, right? Because we have people with all different kinds of activity levels, and I want to make sure we accommodate that, right? Because it could be anything. Go for a walk, you can dance, any movement helps complete the stress cycle. 20 to 60 minutes a day. If you have chronic pain, take it slow. You don't even have to do exercise as we know it. In fact, there's also a way to achieve the same thing where you lie down, and it's like yoga nidra. You can also use a YouTube, search it, look up yoga nidra, and it can kind of help you release tension in your body by doing a scan from head to toe. But this is basically what it is. You lie down, you do a body scan from head to toe, you tense up each part of your body, starting with your head, your neck, all the way downward. And, you tense up really hard for a count of 10. And then you start to release for a slow count of 10. Okay. And, what matters is that you just notice your heart beating faster, 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 fist clenching, and then you release. And you'll feel more relaxed. And you'll notice some tensions you didn't know were there before because you're actually leaning into those tensions and then intentionally letting it go. And you may also feel a wave of strong emotion, right? And that helps too to release that stress, is to cry or feel a wave of strong emotion. Okay, a second thing that you can do is affection. Now, John Gottman, who's a relationship researcher, suggests every day kissing your partner for 6 full seconds. That's 1 6-second kiss. It's long enough that it requires you notice your partner, you build trust with that person. That tells your body that you are safe, right? You can also, part of that affection, it can also be hugging someone that you trust for a full 20 seconds. So it's not just with a stranger, an acquaintance, right? Not those like quick hugs that you give to someone you just met. Literally, it's a solid hug for 20 seconds. And you lean into that hug until you feel your body relax. It can actually lower your blood pressure and heart rate, and it can improve your mood. And it doesn't really matter what kind of affection it is in terms of a kiss or a hug. It could even be with your pets. Maybe you're used to stroking your pet. You do that for 20, 30 seconds. What matters is that you lean into it and you do it consistently for a period of time until you start to feel your body relax. Okay, third thing is laughter. Laughing together. When you laugh either at a movie or with people. And that's the best, right? It helps forge bonds, helps regulate our emotions. Laughter is also another way to help complete the stress cycle. And a fourth way is creative expression, engaging in something creative. That's arts, painting, singing, writing music, even sports, right? Something that helps you unleash your creativity, where you get to build and create something from a vision that you have, and you get to enjoy doing it. So again, 20 to 60 minutes each day. That can help you complete your stress cycle. And finally, breath work. Long inhales through your nose, exhale through your mouth. And I don't want to just say yoga necessarily, but sitting there deliberately and doing these deep breaths and just focusing on the breath. So even if you start to have thoughts about work, you start to ruminate, come back to the breath and just be still with your breath, and try that for about 20 minutes each day. All right. So how do you know when you've completed the cycle? It's an inner intuitive shift. Sometimes you will cry, right? Like I told you, sometimes it's a gradual process. Sometimes it's an instant release. You listen to your body. It will tell you when this happens. Now, if you're not sure about your body, you're not really in tune with it, as so many of us are not in tune with it, right? And you feel disconnected from it, your body and your emotions, just overall, right? That's okay. That's okay. You might have spent years holding in your worry and anger, and that's a lot of accumulated stress response cycles that's in backlog. All you need to recognize is that you feel incrementally better, day by day, bit by bit. You will notice the direction your body is going in, even if you're not quite sure if you've been completing the stress cycle on a regular basis. So maybe when you started, right, take a sort of an assessment of yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, how stressed are you feeling, right? And if it's an 8, you start with an 8. Then maybe over 2 weeks' time, you find that you actually like at a 7 or 6. Then you're headed in the right direction, right? The goal is not to just complete it as an outcome. It's really the journey, right? It's that movement towards incrementally feeling a little better, bit by bit, day by day. All right, that's it for today. Tomorrow, I'm going to talk more about stress, but I'm also going to talk about red flags and when you know it is time to make a change, to leave a situation, to make a career change, when it's time to leave your job, or what to do when there's an unanticipated change. All right, and then day 3, we're going to cover all about creating the life you want on your own terms, shattering the rules, making sure your work fits into your life and not the other way around, but using design and anthropological methods that are so powerful and they're so useful. All right, my friends, I will see you tomorrow.